Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Joe Bafil here, and it is another episode of Abundant Health Naturally. And again, graced by the presence of Dr. Phyllis Russo, Dr. Live Well. And today, we're going to talk about parasites. What are they? Why do we have them? How can we get them out of us? In essence, to allow our bodies to function 100% of the time without any interference. Dr. Phyllis Russo.
Hey there. I love how you introduced me. You're so funny. It's like you feed my ego, um, which
Well,
I'm
I've
not.
known you long enough. I know how to feed your ego.
I was going to say, I don't even know if I have an ego left anymore. Um, Parasites, such fun things. And, we get to say, I mean, that's the thing. We always have parasites in us, right? We
At
always
some
have.
microscopic level or something big and huge. And as we were just talking a little bit ago, this is one way that I share with all of our patients. We always have those opportunistic things within us, whether it is viruses, whether it is bacteria, whether it is a parasite. And when our bodies are worn down, burning a candle at both ends, we're stressed, our hormones are off. We're talking about Hashimoto's a lot on our times together here. That opportunity to shine, to show its ugly head, and thus the environment is ripe. And then
For
what does it do? It does what it's naturally designed to do: suck the life out of us. Okay. It's the best way I could put it. They're energy suckers, life suckers. And well, we have to build up our bodies to be strong enough to fight them off.
Yeah.
Okay. And remove them from that environment. Um, so, what are parasites? Why do we have these within our bodies? What's going on?
Well, I mean, you were just mentioning again, we were just talking about that they come from all over, whether it's, bad food or maybe food not cooked enough. But parasites come even with bacteria and viruses as well. It really, I think, again, parasites are natural to the body on a microscopic level and not overgrown, not too much, right? It's the too much that gets us. And you were saying earlier, what are all the places that the parasites come from?
Well, one thing that I think in general is I know that there are some religious parts of us that stay away from certain foods because they're unclean. And there is biblical truth to that because, God gave that reason. Hey, stay away from this because it may be harmful to you.
Mhm.
Uh, like say pork. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, I love bacon. Bacon makes everything better.
I
Okay.
know it does.
But in anything, when things are not done in its most right way, whether it's prepared, whether it's cooked, whether it's grown the right way, the environment. I mean, think of the environment, the soil. If the
Yeah,
soil is not right, okay,
I was
just
going to
like in
say
our
there's,
bodies, our
yeah.
body's soil is not in its most right state, things are not going to flourish and grow the right way. But then I think of even our in our home, our pets. We have dogs, we have cats. I mean,
Good
nothing against our
thought. I didn't
pets.
even think about that because I don't want to think about that.
Okay, because I know you love your cats.
Yes.
And we love our Maggie, our puppy dog. There's those moments where we get those sweet little kisses and licks, but hey, I mean, let's face it, they're animals. They clean themselves in certain ways. So, not to gross everybody out, but it's true.
It is. Yeah, it's funny that one of the other things we were talking about, some of the intestinal issues that I've been going through, and I've really never thought about it, but I'm always so surrounded by cats. And I wonder sometimes if some of my intestinal issues are even parasitical from my babies. I don't want to admit that though. But even in this conversation, it's like life is life, right? We all have cats, and well, not all of us, but most of us have cats and dogs. and we might eat food that isn't cooked fully. We go out to dinner, and who knows what the chef's hands have been in. I mean,
Right.
it's pervasive. And so I think that one of the things we want to talk about before we talk about actually cleansing these parasites, and let me just say or remind people that it isn't just parasites, because parasites have the ability to hold on to mold and mycotoxins,
Mm.
bacteria. So once you get rid of the parasites, if you can do a good parasite cleanse, you really will it'll help heal the body in general.
Flush it out.
Yeah. And flush not just the parasites, but whatever they're holding on to, because they just love it. That they're parasites. I'll live on a bacteria. This is cool. So anyway, though, but I do want to talk about how important it is before we put our patients on a parasite cleanse, um, to like that building up of our ability to detox. Because if we don't clean up ourselves on a cellular level, right, that mitochondria, that immune system, that energy system, if we don't look importantly at some of the hormones like the thyroid hormones, because one of the people that we're talking about right now are the Hashimoto's, are the autoimmune patients. They really do need parasite cleanses more than our average population. So, but you got to be careful with them all at the same time. You don't want to inflame more, you don't want to get parasites stuck, and you want their immune system stronger before you do a heavier cleanse. And so that's why I always talk about glutathione, and particularly I don't drop product names a lot, but Apex Energetics, their trisomal glutathione is number one in the industry to support and help the liver conjugate. And that one is, so it contains, it's called trisomal, right? 3, because it contains N-acetylcysteine, the NAC, a liposomal glutathione, and then another form, SAG, of glutathione as well. And putting all 3 of those together will in turn help the health of the liver, and be able to help it. You have to have glutathione in your system, right? We make our own glutathione, but some of us don't make it. That's my problem. I've taken a liver test, a genetic liver test. I have no capabilities of making glutathione. And I don't think a lot of autoimmune patients really can produce enough glutathione to really get that liver to work.
Well, I think, with an autoimmune situation, your body's under enough stress, especially the liver. And
Mhm.
then if that liver is not able to do what it needs to on a continual basis, certain activities are going to be put off to the side and left room for all the other things that have to happen. Our liver does 5 to 700 different functions 24/7 without us thinking about it on a continual basis. And when it is tired, when it is inflamed, when it is scarred, when it is swollen, things aren't going to function the best. And as I was listening to you, one of the things that came to my mind, the everyday average person listening to this or saying, "Oh, I'm just going to go do a parasite cleanse because so and so told me to do this." I got the picture of a circus trapeze act walking a thin line, because if you try and do this on your own without the love, the support, the connection of someone who has, number one, done this before, or number two, knows how to help you through this preparation, you may not be getting the full benefit from this, and you may actually be doing some harm.
Absolutely. Um, and I mean, I'm going to go to a story and then we'll kind of come back though to preparing the body for it. But one of my stories is I had well, I had a patient, this was before actually the parasite cleanse, but this can happen on either one. We did a fast with her, just a 3-day fast, and she got real constipated after that. That's the last thing you want on a parasite cleanse. The last thing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit why. But because she had me to support her, I got her into my office. I did acupuncture, local acupuncture on the colon to stimulate more peristalsis, to help the tissue electrically heal the tissue of the gut lining. And then I did abdominal massage just to get it moving. And it was only that at that time we didn't have time to get supplements and help her, push this out. She was in that much pain and we had to do that right then and there. So again, one of the biggest problems uh, in a parasite cleanse is if you have somebody who's got some sort of constipation, you have got to get these parasites out. So if you're doing what you can to get it moving, and then all of a sudden your own body goes, no, I don't feel like it today, then you're in trouble. And so again, there's, you can go into Whole Foods and, oh, let me get a parasite cleanse. I heard it's good. I watched it on Instagram. You really have to have somebody support you. So I think that's important. And again, I want to really go back to, though, preparing the body on a cellular level. Um, I I'm really liking Cellcore products. And again, I've just dropped a name. Um, but they have carbon technology. They use fulvic acid, and fulvic acid is made from soil. And so it has a lot of charge to it, a lot of frequency to it. So it's working on several different levels. And so I can use that. I can use the glutathione, the trisomal from Apex. And then you want the liver really healthy. So I add in herbs. There's a glutathione recycler, and that adds in herbs just to get the silymarin, good old fashioned silymarin. We've heard about that for years for the liver, just to promote the health of the liver. Um, and so I add those two together. I wouldn't, until I get somebody's immune system stronger with that glutathione, because it also is the master antioxidant. Until I get that strong, I'm not going to put an autoimmune patient on a parasite cleanse. Now, how long does that take? Depends on the person, of course, but I'd be looking at least a month to maybe 3 months of really getting their immune system stronger, getting them to feel better. Start actually, is the glutathione helping foggy head? Like, are you doing a little bit better there? Are you doing better in energy? That sort of thing. And just ask the questions within the first month to 3 months. And then, and even do some supplements that also help on other supplements besides glutathione that helps on a cellular basis.
What
So
about we talked about fasting and intermittent fasting. Now,
I'll let you talk on that. You were doing
so
some research on that.
so say if someone wanted to do fasting to help just their overall body, intermittent fasting, blood sugar, their immune system, and so forth, maybe losing some weight. Can that alone help with the parasite cleansing? My feeling is doing that alone is great. It's fine, but just doing that during a parasite cleanse may not be as beneficial. You may want to eat the right foods as you're doing the parasite cleanse, because from what I have read, that fasting alone is necessary, won't necessarily force the parasites out.
And
because
India might do the opposite.
yeah, they're gonna hold on. They're gonna find that deep, dark crevices within your intestines, and they're gonna latch on and stay there until the storm is over, basically.
Mhm.
Okay, they're gonna wait the storm out and like, oh, is it coast is clear? Let's come out and play again. Um, but we have to work on the biofilm, and they're going to latch on to the mucus and the plaques and the candida, as you're saying, mold.
Yep.
So we have to work on our microbiome. We have to make sure we're eating the right foods when doing this. So
Well, and that is also so prior to an actual cleanse, parasite cleanse, that is so you do the glutathione to and make sure that the liver will be able to detox. But everything else is the microbiome. You've got to clean that up. You've got to have it an environment. I love how you put it that if it's not a good environment, um, then they're just going to latch on until the storm is over. I think it's a great analogy. And so it's important for the gut to heal. So it is one of the reasons why I make sure everybody's grain free. Grain free is one, it helps the sugar balance. You started mentioning that.
mhm.
The other is there's so many sensitivities. We're in this immune state because somewhere along the way we had leaky gut to begin with. And so our microbiome is screwed from the get-go, right? So we've got to do our best to kind of clean that up even before we do a parasite cleanse. So one is getting rid of grains because we're very sensitive to it. Autoimmune people need to at least take a time off of all grains. And then after, maybe if you could incorporate some back in, I'd be staying away from wheat, at least in this country, because we have the glyphosates all over
Yeah.
and we have it on a lot of our grains. So it just tears apart the gut lining.
So fasting is a tool, but it's not magic. But if we combine it with work in between fast, and we get to watch that magic happen, the biofilm breakers, the binders, the gut support, this is the way that the terrain becomes inhospitable for the parasites, and thus pausing of their party, and we get to kick them out. So
Right.
I think we have a lot of tools at our disposal, and it's just knowing how to use them. Platforms like this where we get to discuss the sticky, the dirty things of our choices. We have things that we can do, and not everybody understands. And sometimes people are misled and just go about, like you said, social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. They see a reel and oh, maybe I should do this because I've been feeling kind of crappy. Well, we want to get the crap out of you. So,
Aha.
but it's truly understanding the basics or the foundation of why. Why did we get here in the first place? What has happened for my body or your body to be susceptible to this eruption, this this force within us that says, whew, this is not good. Now, I've had people say, man, I could go for a great tapeworm right now to suck this fat out of me. Well, that might be
I have
good.
heard that.
That might be good in the short term, but if we never learn how to take care of it in the first place and drive the car the right way, it's going to create more damage.
And it does. And I mean, I think too, again, so many people are doing parasite cleanses. It's like the in thing. Um, but I don't think the problems were as big 40, 50 years ago because our world wasn't as toxic. And I might pull in something controversial here, but I think I think our vaccines, how many they have now.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I don't know, maybe I had five. I don't even remember, but it wasn't that many. I think I had polio. I remember that one. I don't remember. There's got to have been, oh, no, not even measles. We used to get the measles.
Well,
So,
you have a very good point because I was just watching our FDA secretary on um, an interview, and he stated that since 1986, prior to 1986, the amount of inoculations was very minimal. But from 1986 on, the amount of inoculations have exponentially increased.
I think it's something like 70 something now
We're
that,
up to around 72 to
yeah,
90
yeah,
different inoculations. What an insult. I know it's a
our
controversial
body.
topic, but
Right.
it's true. You're insulting the natural
Integrity.
approach
Yeah.
of the fearfully and wonderfully made bodies that we have been given, in essence, to protect mankind, but yet you're damaging the body, the host.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to get controversial. I don't think it's even protecting mankind. I think it's simply what happened in 1986. You're forgetting that part. They got legislation that
Yeah,
said that they weren't liable anymore.
correct.
And
That's
all of a sudden, such a sick society that we have to have 72 to 90 inoculations on our children. Okay, I don't want to get too
yeah.
on that
Let's climb
topic,
out of that rabbit hole
but
before we get on.
but the reason why I brought it up is that this is another hindrance to our body and to our
Right.
immune system and to our microbiome from all of the whatever else they have added into these vaccines. So anyway, though, so it's just an additional toxins in the air, toxins in our soil, and even the soil itself carries more parasites. And so why? Because they do pesticides, and that actually procreates even more parasitical action. And then they get other pesticides to kill that. So it's we're just inundated. And we've talked about that before in that other one. What did we entitle it? They're trying to kill us.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill us. So our best, so that's why these things are important. That's why even everyday people should take some glutathione, even if it's only little 5 milliliters. That's one of the things I always have people do is that trisomal glutathione. I take 50 milliliters of that because I had exposure to mold, and I don't have any alleles. I literally have no DNA in my system to produce glutathione. And what, by the way, what is it? It's a tripeptide in our body. It's a molecule in our body as that works as an antioxidant that works to actually build up the biofilm in the gut. It's an antioxidant for our immune system. It is the number one molecule that helps our liver put this toxin together and this natural binder together and then go, okay, now on the next conjugation process, now we can get it out of the system. But if you don't have glutathione, the liver doesn't work. I'm surprised I'm not dead. I always say that. When I found out about that, that I don't have any DNA to make glutathione, I'm not the only one. That's why the test is expensive to take, but I was not being able to get rid of these mycotoxins from the molds. So I did it. But I'm glad I did because it opened me up to understanding all my patients and their liver and saying, okay, that's the first thing we got to do is we got to make sure this major molecule is with them. And the other part is methylation. A lot of people are coming up with the diagnosis of MTHFR,
Yep.
and so they can't methylate. Guess what? The second most important molecule to conjugate in the liver is methyl groups, methyl donor groups.
So it goes hand in hand with this saying, if you want to be a liver of life, you have to have a healthy liver.
I just love the stuff that comes out of your mouth.
um, and also talking about nutrients and supplements, we also know that a natural food source that a lot of us Italians like is garlic. Garlic is antiviral,
Yes.
antibacterial, anti-parasitic, but also in the realm of, how do I say, supporting our thyroid, iodine.
Oh,
Iodine can,
no, 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 no,
no,
no.
iodine's not anti-parasitic.
Well, here's the thing about iodine. That's a common misconception.
Okay. I see. This
Okay.
is good. This is good.
So, what makes up T3 and T4 in and this is big part of the program. If they look at those videos that I've put together, they'll see why iodine is in our society, you don't want extra iodine for the thyroid. T3 and T4, you would think you would, right? Because T3 and T4 are made up. They're molecules, they're iodo, right? They're made up of iodine. The thing about it is we naturally produce it, number one. But
Mhm.
the other thing is getting it on the outside, we're getting plenty. You have any green leafy vegetable, you're getting iodine. You have any source of even Celtic salt or sea salt, there's iodine in it. You don't need iodized salt. We get plenty.
That's right.
That is such a fallacy. And that's actually what drives people, what drives their thyroid into overacting. And so, one of the things that Datis Karazian talks about is what a fallacy this is about iodine. And any of your doctors, your thyroid doctors, your endocrinologists, still go under that old because there was a time where we might, that's why they made iodized salt at one point,
Right.
because we weren't getting enough iodine into our system. But we actually are getting plenty into our system. And so there would be very few people, third world countries, yes. Our country, now maybe some of, maybe underprivileged might not be getting enough.
What about the standard American diet?
Believe it or not, as long as somebody eats some of their vegetables and uses salt, they have plenty. They have
But what
plenty.
about those people that have blood pressure issues and their doctor says, stay away from salt,
Yeah,
stay away
it's
from sodium?
also another, yeah, it's another fallacy.
I know. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that on some of the other programs, I don't do it on my program, but some of the other health programs for autoimmune and Hashimoto's is, and the reason why I don't bring it up is I just tell people to salt their food, but is drinking some water with some Celtic salt and just doing like a quarter teaspoon and then building it up. I just heavily salt my food and my blood pressure is actually low. I have like some days it's 90 over 60, some days it's 100 over 70. And every once in a while it gets to what is considered normal of 120 over 80. Never quite sure why I get that high. It might be stress or something like that. But otherwise, no, it does not contribute to that. As a matter of fact, things like Celtic salt have just the perfect amount of minerals that will work as electrolytes and health benefits in general. So that is a fallacy too. Iodine's a fallacy, and that itself is a fallacy. So keep those in mind.
See,
I've done
there's a
plenty.
method to my madness. When I bring up these things, you say, you love those things that come out of my mouth. So,
Yeah, I mean, and it really is such a common misconception, and so that's why I want people to know. I'm actually glad you said that because it's a huge fallacy on it. So, anyways, what were we talking about
all
before
right.
that?
So we talked about parasites. Where do they come from? We talked about building up the body to be ready for a parasite cleanse. Um, when we do a parasite cleanse, though, when we finally build up our body to withstand, our immune system, make sure that the gut biome is starting to be uh, well fertilized and cared for, uh, what are the benefits of releasing these organisms that are at a microscopic level that we don't know is always there. And sometimes it's from the animals that we're near. Sometimes it's from things that we touch that we don't know. And we don't need to get super crazy and wipe everything down because, our bodies do need some of this stuff. But what's the result? What are we going to experience in doing a parasite cleanse?
Well, I do believe, again, especially for any autoimmune person, and let's just say, I don't know, 70% of our population anyway is autoimmune. They might not know it, but if anybody has a symptom of, so I'm going to answer your question by actually bringing up the symptoms. Foggy head, like I can't think, I can't focus, I can't remember. Depression. We always think depression comes from life. Some of it does.
Yeah.
But depression in and of itself is very much related to the thyroid, right? So we still want to look at depression. So I'm talking about the brain right now. Then you want to look at sugar balance. Am I moody? Or do I have thyroid symptoms? Am I tired? I can't seem to get moving. The family wants to go out and do things, or I want to do things with my grandchildren or my children. God, I just don't feel up to it. All of those things. If they start that, you need a parasite cleanse at one point. Oh, and let's not forget some weird, funny condition that came up in 2020. Because there's people that probably still have some spike proteins in them as well that parasites will also hold on to,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, which is why ivermectin worked well. Again, I don't recommend it unless you have somebody strongly supporting you, but ivermectin is anti-parasitical. And so when you get rid of the parasites, it actually can get rid of those spike proteins. So, but it's the same thing with any parasite cleanse. I did ivermectin alongside a friend of mine. We had COVID at the same time. She couldn't get the prescription. She did all like black walnut, all of the essential herbs for parasite cleanse, and she got better just as fast, even a little bit faster than I did.
I may
So,
interject standard process, as you see behind me, has artemisinin, which was
isn't it
another
black
choice
walnut?
because people couldn't get ivermectin. So artemisinin has wormwood in it
Oh, that's
and
right,
black
wormwood.
walnut.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's another way of gently cleansing, not just parasites, but even, how I say, hidden viruses within the body.
agreed. Yeah, the wormwood echo, isn't it? Black walnut, but it's wormwood. Um, anyway, all of these sort of things you want to look at and say, you know what, I think it's time for a parasite cleanse. And that's when you've said, okay, we're going to build you up for a period of time. Um, and one of the things we talked about before we started this was when we're doing all of this, the black walnut, the wormwood is involved. Again, Cellcore has a binder with it, and then it has a whole parasite. It has TUDCA in it, and then it has a parasite with black walnut, wormwood. There's a whole bunch. It's a tincture in it, and right now I'm forgetting it all. But these are the herbs that you need, and maybe you know them better because I know there's a couple more herbs on theirs as well. But anyway, we'll get back to that in just a sec. The most important thing, and that is getting those bowels to move.
Oh, you mean like if you're constipated or you have a bowel movement maybe every other day, and you think that's normal, yet you're eating maybe 3 meals a day, we have to eliminate. Elimination is key. And when we get all bound up, and you're really full of it. And
So, yeah, here he goes again. That's the thing. So if you're actually doing a parasite cleanse, I'm suggesting that you at least do a bowel movement at least twice a day during that time, hopefully three, because you don't want to just stir them up because that's what's happening. You want to make sure too that you get them out. So you're taking there's four different supplements on Cellcore's Parasite Cleanse, and Um, and I think that that is vital for sort of pulling them together, getting your gut strong enough for it, but you've got to get it out. And if you don't have those bowel movements, so they have something called, I think it's just called Bowel Mover. And it's got things like, because they're strong. I don't recommend it all the time, but I do recommend it during the parasite cleanse. And that is, it's got Cascara sagrada in it, it's got senna in it, it's got aloe vera in it. You had one standard process has,
Medi-herb Colax.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's vital. And that's again why it's so important to have someone like you and me to follow them during this time. And you don't always have the time. You do a lot of different stuff. Send them over to me. It's just a phone call away. I mean, unless they need an abdominal massage, and then you can come in on that one. But otherwise, it's just really making sure they're eating correctly, stay away from grains. You want fiber though, right? And so you're going to do your greens. That's just fine to do as much vegetables as you can. And then I mean, salads are even good. Just a good green though, not freaking iceberg
Yep.
lettuce.
Yep.
And then the other is water. Got to hydrate during a parasite cleanse as well.
One thing that also came to my mind, chiropractically speaking, especially on the lines of what both you and I have done with applied kinesiology, is making sure the ileocecal valve is opening and closing properly so that things can move the way it's supposed to through the from the small intestine to the large intestine and eventually being eliminated. And within my office, I have ways of checking that on people, just a range of motion leg test and then touching the ileocecal valve area, having the patient involved. I do a little manipulation of that area where the valve is. We go back, we recheck, and all of a sudden the patient's like, wow, I can't believe I can move my leg better, or it's not as tender. So that is important as well, making sure that there's no interference so that things can move the way it's supposed to. We always have such great things to talk about. And I know there's someone in the bathroom of this airplane right now that we have to get them out so that we can
Oh, well,
land
let
this
me just
plane.
show one thing. I want to share one thing, if you don't mind,
Please.
um, before the airplane lands. I do want to show this. This is the company that
Ooh.
I use for it, and I think ultimately it's a good one for you to use with patients as well.
Is
Or
this something that they can find on full script?
no, Cellcore is the only company that you can't.
Okay.
And so that's why, but I can do it like full script, like it can go directly to them. But this one is, so they have a Para One, which is helps with the digestive support. Para Two, your immune and digestive, the binders that we were talking about, and then Para Three. And I love also they have a little, and the one thing we haven't talked about in parasite cleansing, there is a direct correlation with a full moon and when your parasites start acting up.
Get out.
Yeah. And so it's best to do around a full moon. So last month I did the beginner one. I just did those products and they tell you exactly how, I'll show you the dosing card, but they tell you exactly how to do it. That's why I love this company. It's so easy for everybody to do. But you do what you need to do the protocol the day before, on the day of the full moon, one day after. Intermediate is for 5 days, and advanced is for a full 7 days. And and there you go. I don't know again if they can all see it, but how much I take the Para Two when I wake up. I pick the Para Two, two of those. Very, very clear. Very clear. So I just wanted y'all to see that. I'm going to stop sharing. There's I mean, I love this company and again, there's a million cleanses, parasite cleanses out there, but I just don't see anybody doing it quite as well as them. So again, if you want your patients to get on these type of cleanses, just have them, give them my number, text, we'll set up a chat, and then we'll kind of go through it with them as well.
Well, we definitely will in the comments or the section below have the information to contact our office uh, at Bafil Family Chiropractic. So bafilfamilychiro.com, email at info@bafilfamilychiro.com, Dr-Livewell .com. So we have many ways, but I'll put it down in the chat section so that they can get that information, but also reach out to us so that we can guide you or any questions that you may have. Comment on this video, like it, share it. Someone out there needs to hear this so that they can be guided in the most right way. Uh, it's Dr. Joe and Dr. Phyllis caring, loving, connecting with you. Um, we're as the authentic way that we can be. So I just saw that last person come out of the restroom in the airplane, so I think we can land the plane now without any mishaps. Uh,
They better buckle their seatbelt.
yeah, right.
You know me, I hate to buckle my seatbelt.
I know.
Um, and I don't usually do it on a plane. But there was that one story like within the last year about that woman who wasn't wearing one. And yeah, so I've been wearing a seatbelt on the plane.
Wow.
I still don't wear one in the car. I still have my same binky in my seatbelt that I had when we knew each other when we
You're
were
you're being very authentic and vulnerable, letting out these secrets. I love that.
eight seat.
Phyllis, we love you, and I love connecting with everybody. Uh, I am excited because our shows here, our time together has been playing in our office, and our our lovely practice members continually are watching. I am being asked for subtitles, and I have to figure out how to get subtitles go across the screen so that they can, because it gets noisy in our office. We're constantly adjusting people, and they're sitting, watching, and waiting. Uh, they want to. They're checking us out and they're listening. Hey, everybody, I appreciate y'all checking in and just being a part of this conversation, conversations that can lead to changes. And all you have to do is ask. Because if you have no questions coming in, if you don't ask, then you have not. So we're here for you. We appreciate y'all and thank you again.
Bye, everybody.